In this time of extraordinary pressure, educational and social, perhaps a mother's first duty to her children is to secure for them a quiet growing time, a full 6 years of passive, receptive life, the waking part of it spent for the most part out in the fresh air. This is Miss Charlotte Mason's writing in volume 1 of her series. It's home education, and it's on page 4. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, educating our students who are in those first 6 years of their life and what it can look like and what curriculums maybe I recommend. All right, stay tuned. Hi, I am Sarah Ruth, the mama behind Kindle Togetherness. Here at Kindle Togetherness, we share all things faith-filled homemaking, faith-filled learning, and faith-filled adventures. Today, we are here to have a conversation about what the early years look like in our Charlotte Mason-inspired home and educational life. Before we get into that, would you please take a moment and subscribe to our channel so that you are notified when we share new things, so that I don't have to come find you, but you can find me. Also, if you like this video today, or if you have questions or suggestions, I'd love for you to put them in the comments. I try to keep a keen eye on those and interact with each of you, get to know you, and also get to know better ways to serve you guys, because really I'm wasting my time if I'm not putting things out there that you're interested in. All right, the early years. So I already read you a little Miss Mason quote, and I really love going back to her texts when I talk about her ideas. And reason being is because they are hers, and obviously we are adapting them to meet the needs of our families and children. But this is kind of the crux and foundation of where much of the way that we implement learning in our home comes from. So another quote that I'm going to read you real quick is this one, and it says, "To form in his child right habits of thinking and behaving is a parent's chief duty. To nourish a child daily with loving, right, and noble ideas, we believe to be the parent's next duty." And that is in Miss Mason's volume 2 on page 228. Listen, friends, if you are truly thinking about considering wanting to implement Miss Mason's ideas and principles in your homeschool, please, I beg you, please purchase her volumes. I have moms all the time tell me it's hard, I don't always understand it. Then read them slowly. It's okay. Read through a paragraph twice. Guess what? Many things are hard. Many subjects are hard. Sorry, a sweet little bunny rabbit just hopped through my yard and I was mildly distracted. I wish I could show you to him, but he's already in the woods. Anyway, now you know these are unscripted videos, not edited well. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. Please get her volumes and read what she said. There are going to be lessons that are difficult for your children. There's going to be times that we impress upon our children that they can do hard things. So can you. And I think instead of taking regurgitated information from a variety of sources, wouldn't it be better to get it from the person who had the ideas first so that you get the original information? Gosh, I have to tell you, that's how my brain operates. I want it from the source. Yeah, I might get ideas and practical implementation or inspiration from a variety of places. There are wonderful, parts of the internet that we can go to or other books that can help build upon these premises. But first and foremost, I would get them from her. So go purchase her volumes, start reading. If your children are in this age group we're talking about today, your toddler to 5-year-olds, please read Home Education. I actually feel like it's one of her easiest volumes to take in and read, and you can just read it in pieces, mix in some other things. If your children are really young, now's the time to be reading her volumes and getting this stuff in your mind and your heart. I feel like it kind of simmers and marries, and you take it on as your own when you read it early on. But if you already have several children and you're just coming here to get fresh ideas for preschool, that's fine too. put one of her volumes in your rotation. I've now read through her volumes twice, and I'm working on a third go in volume 2. So let's get down to what preschool should look like. Based on the 2 quotes I read you previously, they have like the tenets that I would consider really important for preschool learning. Your under 6-year-olds, this is what the focus and the heartbeat of our days are. And I take them directly from those quotes I read to you. So, she mentions securing for them a quiet growing time, to have a passive, receptive life where most of it is spent out in the fresh air. So you know what I'm getting at, because this is one of the primary things that is both controversial and that she's known for. It is time outdoors. Listen, when I had 3 little boys, all under the age of 4, and then, we crept up and up in years. But when I had these 3 little boys, as I was going through pregnancy, I was running a chapter of Free for School. And we spent 3 to 4 days a week outside. And I would literally get my children up, put on my baby carrier, get us all out the door before 9 a.m., put dinner on in the crock pot or in the oven, pack a lunch, and off we would go. And guys, I just determined in my heart we were going to stay outside all day. And so we wouldn't trek home until 4:30 or 5. Some of you know our backstory that, now my husband and I both work for ourselves, and, we're both home more, and my husband doesn't have a typical job. But at that time in that season, my husband was working 60-hour weeks, and it was just me, and it didn't matter. I took my kids outside, and honestly, I think it saved my sanity. I think if I had been locked up in a house with 3 itty bitty boys all the time, it would have been a wreck. I would have become depressed. But instead, we were in the fresh air. It was good for me. It was good for them. Their bodies were moving. They were getting all the muscle building and tone and whatnot that they needed. So getting outside as much as possible. Miss Mason would push you with her thoughts. One of her thoughts is for a minimum of 4 hours a day, if at all possible. Sounds like a lot. We were getting 7 to 8, 3 to 4 days a week. And it was so healthy and so good. And I look back and reflect on that time, and I miss it already. But there are good things in this season too. So that's the first thing that I think is really important. Secondly, she talks about a quiet growing time until they are 6. In our current culture, in the state of things where we are, our children are pushed to know letters and numbers and so many academic things so young. I have friends who have 3-year-olds that they're, putting videos of them saying the ABCs and writing their numbers and counting to 50. And I kind of fell into that comparison trap at times with my eldest, like, oh goodness, I need to be counting with him. I need to be teaching him this. I need to be doing this. And my background as an educator came into play with that. But I had also already read a lot of Miss Mason's thoughts, and I had written a paper on it in college. And so I knew that there was a huge benefit to pushing off some of those more rigorous beginning academic skills that are so often taught to 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds. And so I made a conscious effort to seek out women in a season ahead of me homeschooling who were talking differently and who were suggesting other things. And I'm going to talk to you about one of those women here in a minute. But what I did decide was that in delaying the formal academics didn't mean that my kids weren't learning. It just meant that I wasn't pulling out worksheets and number cards, and I didn't have a schedule for them. But instead, I was bringing books outdoors with us. We were counting sticks together. We were skipping rocks and counting the skips. We were counting dots on the back of a frog's back or a ladybug. We were identifying flowers. My kids were learning what they could and couldn't touch. They were manipulating clay and sand and feeling all the things and learning to balance. And those things are so important. And when we trade those things for early academics, because there's only so much time in the day. So if you're spending 2 or 3 hours in learning time and you're indoors doing that, then you don't have the same quantity of time to work on those other hugely important skills that can really only be gotten during a certain period of, early life. So anyway, delaying formal academics is such an important foundational pillar in early education. And then she talks about In the second quote that I read, helping the child have right habits and thinking, nourishing them so that they will have good habits and life skills. And so the habit of truthfulness, the habit of attention, of obedience, these skills help our days run smoother as they grow older. They help your child be able to navigate various relationships, to be successful in multiple settings. So important. And these early years are where you build that foundation for that. And then last but not least, she talks about nourishing them daily with loving, right, and noble ideas. And ultimately, I believe she was, referring to living books, giving them these beautiful ideas that come from living books and maybe artwork or, going to a museum or viewing artwork, etc. So, like I said, we're talking about delaying formal academics until our children are 6, reading living books to them, spending lots of time outside, and forming good habits and life skills that they're going to need in various environments for the rest of their life. So these are the things that I believe Miss Mason brought to the forefront when it comes to what an early childhood education should look like. And it's very informal and it's very natural, and it allows the mother freedom and the children freedom to just live and be together and enjoy one another's company while appreciating nature and appreciating good books and just doing life together, which is like so much of how I'm bent. So let's talk about curriculum. Many moms, especially moms who have an oldest child that is in the preschool years. So you're just starting with one child, with home educating, would like a curriculum. Before I talk about a curriculum, let's talk about how not to use a curriculum and do this. You could absolutely never purchase any curriculum until your child is 6 and successfully do this. Use your library, use online book lists. Go to the Peaceful Press has beautiful book lists for this age group. She gives them out for free all the time. Her Instagram is loaded with them. Just scroll through and get some. Read Aloud Revival is where I ultimately grabbed so many. They have a monthly list. I know some people like Brighter Day Press's book lists that she has been putting out for the past year. There's so many sources to get beautiful picture books. Heritage Mom Blog has a lovely list of picture books for children that you can look at. So find your sources for amazing books, access your library, purchase the ones that you want to keep, etc., and read to your child as often as you can every day. Scoop them in your lap when they wake up and read a beautiful book to them. Read to them while they eat at breakfast. Read to them while they eat at lunch. Read to them as they go to bed. Read to them at nap time. Read to them whenever you can out in the woods. I would pack up our picture books and take them with us. Secondly, get outside. If you're a more introverted person and you just want to be with your little crew, that is fine. You don't have to join a group or make a group. Go outside with your kids. Enjoy your yard. Take a walk every day. Find a favorite lake. You know what? If it's an hour away, it's an hour away. Pack up lunch. Put something in the crock pot. Have your dinner planned and go. Go enjoy the day outside with your kids. If you are super social or if you're concerned that your child needs playmates, create a group. Find a free forest school group. Find a wild and free group. Make your own. But make it outside. Give yourself motivation and freedom to spend your days outside. You'll thank me if you'll do this. Your house will be cleaner. Toddlers are messy. Eat outdoors. Do as much as you can outside. Let them pee outside. Literally, you guys. Life is so much easier outdoors when they're little, I promise. If the kids are happier, your mood will be elevated. Seriously. Create a rhythm in your home. So, on the days when we were home, there was a certain rhythm. It wasn't a schedule, but my children knew that when they woke up, mommy was going to have them brush their teeth after breakfast. We were going to have cuddle time before breakfast, and I was going to read them a story. I was going to sing songs with them during our breakfast time. And, I developed that around exploring nature with children. We started exploring nature with children when my eldest was 5. And that was very much a part of his preschool time. And I added in folk songs to go with the nature topic each week. And we sang that folk song at the table. Create this rhythm in your home where your children know what's coming next, where your children learn to follow through on tasks like tidying up. Like when we finish with one group of toys, we put them away and then we go to the next. While this is our sunroom. It's also our playroom. You can probably figure that out from the appearance. The floor needs swept and the carpet needs vacuumed. Those are my jobs. But if you'll notice, my children's toys are picked up. My kids are now 10, 8, and 6. They are far from perfect. However, they do understand the principle that when they get out an activity, when they finish, they need to put it away. It has been a foundational principle, and it makes our life so much easier. I can record in this room without stress because my kids have put their things away. We can have company come over and enjoy this space because it's not trashed and we don't have to do a frenzied cleanup. So these are things that oh, there's the bunny again. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. This will forever be the video with Sarah Ruth screaming bunny over and over. Okay. So you can, like I said, do this without a curriculum. However, there's nothing wrong with curriculum. And there are some amazing ones out there for this age group. And so remember I mentioned finding women who are a little bit ahead of you and kind of listening to what they're sharing and gleaning from them. Well, one of those women for me is Jennifer Pepito. She has homeschooled all of her kids. You know, a couple have gone off to college. One just, I think, finished her doctorate. Jennifer is well-read, well-traveled. She cares about her family and loves her family well. And she understands Miss Mason's principles. And her Peaceful Preschool was the first preschool curriculum that I ever used. And it's the one that I used for 2 of my children. And I just love it. And the way that it is set up is just so easy. It is so gentle on the mother and on the child. I will just show you. She uses a grid, and these are very popular now, but I honestly think she was one of the first ones to sit this in a curriculum quite in this way. But if you look, she has sections. She has read aloud, phonics, counting skills, fine motor skills, large motor skills, practical life skills, and art skills. These are the things that I was telling you about that I feel like need to be part of an early childhood education. And so then she has your days laid out for you. And Fridays were always set up for you to just have like a free day to go on a picnic or a field trip related to the work that you did that week together. But I will just tell you that her living book recommendations are amazing, and all of the books in this particular curriculum are wonderful. But at the beginning of her curriculum, she gives so many helps for the mother. She explains the lessons. She explains her reasoning behind the lessons. She talks about how to find things in your home that you can use to save money instead of buying so much stuff. And then she talks about routines. She talks about developing personal care for your children, helping them become independent. She just really gives you such a great mother's education and kind of the philosophy behind why you should do what you're doing in here. And this, she provides a kindergarten readiness checklist. So you can be paying attention to your child and making notes and checking things off. But in this preschool curriculum, Jennifer Pepito has it organized by letters. And essentially you're teaching your child basic phonics through this curriculum. And she has these sweet activities and books all paired together along with recipes. You just can't beat it. So each week she runs the child through reading aloud a story, reading aloud from the Bible, then making a textured glitter letter. So they learn the correct way to write the letter, and then they make a textured glitter glue letter that they can trace with their fingers. So it's very, they can feel it. And there's counting, there's phonemes, there's recipes getting you in the kitchen with your child. And here's the other beautiful thing about this is you can pick and choose which things will work for you and your child. You don't have to do every single thing. This is like a menu, so to speak. It's not a you must. And most of these little activities take 10 minutes or less. Some of them 2 or 3 minutes. Like they're not these, they're appropriate for the age, the targeted age. And they're not baseless. They are, founded in reasoning, like, why should your child be tracing this textured letter? So they can learn the formation, so they can feel the formation. It's sensory. So I really, really appreciate how Jen weaves together scripture, godliness, Miss Mason's principles, living books, recipes, togetherness in such a gentle and beautiful way. I could not more highly recommend this curriculum to you. Now, if you do purchase this curriculum, I want to tell you what you get with it. So it is a PDF that you would receive, and it comes in various files that you get. I do believe she has a printed option now, but you would need to check her website for that. I'll put it in the description box. But you will get various files, and there will be a printables file that provides you with these, the alphabet printables that your child's going to do the textured letters with. And then you will get the parent guide that you can print out. You'll get the recipes and the supply list, as well as the book list in its own separate file. So you get all of those files and you can print them from home however is best for you. So this is my first recommendation that I'm going to share with you today. And it is the most comprehensive recommendation I have for you. Like, it just counting, fine motor skills, gross motor skills, some nature studies, it just has all these moving pieces that are so well-rounded, social type skills, conversation, beginning narration for your child, just scripture. It has so much woven together. My second recommendation is a little less comprehensive, but still wonderful. And it's more for your children who are really eager to get to know their letters and sounds. So if you have an eager beaver child and you're like, I need to teach them to read because they really want to learn how. Or if you have a 5 or 6 year old and you feel like it's time for us to really begin building these skills, this is a beautiful, just gentle way to begin teaching the phonemes. This is 100 gentle lessons in letters and sound by A Gentle Feast. So in some ways, this has some similarities to the Peaceful Press in that it does include recipes and it does some work with phonemes. However, this is a very targeted learning curriculum, and I do find it to be exceptionally Charlotte Mason. At the beginning, she actually quotes Miss Mason and talks about the nursery rhymes she uses, and she talks about why we don't use the name as much as we're going to be using the sound so that we don't confuse. But it's really sweetly and beautifully done. I'm actually using it with my 6-year-old right now. And so as you can see, she includes a simple little nursery rhyme for each letter with beautiful pictures. It's really lovely in print. This you can purchase from the A Gentle Feast website. I'll also put my link, my affiliate link for them in the description box. I really appreciate it when you use those. They help me out. I make a small profit from that, and it's a blessing to my family, and it costs you nothing extra. But these lessons are set up. There are 100 lessons in total. There are 26 letter phonemes taught, and they're very short, very, very short lessons to teach your children simply the letter sounds. And they come with, I'm going to show you, these lovely cards. So this is the one my son's currently working on. It's munching marshmallow. And one of the things that has been really nice with my son is he feels like he's already reading, even though he's not. Because I will read this to him and then he will repeat it, and it's easy to memorize. And so then he will go over it and say it, and it gives him that immediate feeling of success, like he has learned something and is understanding it. But the way these are printed, I can point to the letters and say, oh, what sound does this make? And he, what sound does this one make? It also practices writing the letters, so they begin to learn how to write the letters simultaneously with learning their sounds. And Julie has provided these. I've seen them wooden in other curriculums, but they are the little building pieces. So these actually come with your curriculum for your child to build all their letters, and then they trace over them with their finger. And then I introduce a salt tray as well as chalk at some point during the week. She also gives you this, which shows the pieces so that your child can look at that. So my son, we have a rhythm set up. I introduce the letter. She has a book suggestion that you read aloud to the child as well that goes with the letter. And she tells you to show them the flashcard, have them repeat. They make the uppercase and lowercase letter, and you go through this together. At the end of the week, once my child has finished all of these lessons, I have him use monkey string. They're these little like manipulative, reusable, I don't know what you would call it, like what they're really made of, but it's like a kind of a gently sticky wax stuff. And he makes the letter and sticks it to our wall because it doesn't leave a mark on our wall. And so he has an alphabet that is growing on our wall of the letters he's mastered. And then each day when we start our lesson, I have him review all the sounds. So he's getting that continual review. Or sometimes I make it a game. I'm like, go find, the first sound in fly. And he has to go find the F on the wall. Lastly, she includes these amazing recipe cards for every week. So this week, he's super excited about this. M&M cookies. Anyway, some of them are more healthy than not. There's a noodle soup. And what I like about these is, she does provide the recipes, but also they're just great ideas. Like I have a noodle soup that we make at our house, and it's a great recipe and we love it. And so we can just make our noodle soup. I have a sourdough cookie dough recipe that we can simply toss M&Ms in. So like they're very family friendly recipes that if you just see the idea, then you could absolutely, if you have a family recipe, just teach your child your family recipe. So anyway, those are the two primary curriculums that I think serve children in the early years best. I will mention a couple others for you to investigate if you're looking for something like this. Treehouse, Schoolhouse, Nature Study is a delightful nature study curriculum. I am not an affiliate for them. I once was, and I'm no longer, but I think Lindsay has done an amazing job. I actually have a review of her curriculum if you want to go back and look at that video. But it is beautifully done and includes folk songs, picture study, hands-on things, a nature theme every week, ideas for getting outside, ideas for recipes, living book suggestions. Really beautiful, and definitely something I would recommend checking out as a curriculum for 3 to 6 year olds. No, it does not teach letter sounds, but you can easily just do that without a curriculum, really, if I'm honest with you, around your house and during your day and when you're reading to your kids. Also, Lindsay's curriculum is in the upper echelon of pricing, in my opinion. So if you're needing something that's more budget friendly, check out Exploring Nature with Children. Lynn Seddon has been a staple in my home. Her Exploring Nature with Children curriculum is lovely, and it has all of the things that Lindsay's curriculum has in it, except for the folk songs. It's just in a much simpler format. Like, it's not as aesthetically pleasing. So that's something for you to consider and look at. And that's a wrap, friends. My encouragement to you, if you have children that are under the age of 6 and have not yet turned 6, enjoy those little years. Take them outside, read them good books, get to know that little person, and establish those good routines and solid habits that will set them up for a healthy and happy life. All right, until next time, happy learning, happy adventures, and happy homemaking, friends.